Detroit Den 313. We are back. Stephen Will talking Detroit Lions football. It's a big day. But before we get started, hit that subscribe button, please. Right. Don't forget the bell icon so you don't miss any of our new content. Steve, please talk to the people about what went on.
Well, it could have been a big day. Could have been a fantastic day for Detroit Lions. A little underwhelming, in my opinion, but we'll get into some details. We'll break it down step by step. What happened today? We'll start off first with Lions keeping together for the most part their offensive line, re-signing Graham Glasgow, 3-year, $20 million deal. How do you feel about that? First and foremost.
He was a priority when it came to our offensive line to me, man. I know some people might think otherwise with the talent of that how I am about these guys. If you watch this show, guys, this isn't a brain fart. When they leave, bloop, bloop, I forget about them. The little blinky thing from Men in Black, they're gone. Right. So, but yeah, that guy who went to the Rams, whatever. I wanted Graham Glasgow more than I wanted him. So they did exactly what I hoped they'd do. We signed a pivotal guy, a versatile guy, a guy that can go play center, a guy can play either guard position. Hey, I think if we get a jam, we could probably go put him at left tackle. So
Easy.
Graham,
I don't know about that.
happy to see you back. How do you feel about it?
I've called Graham Glasgow last year my season's MVP. It's easy to look at Jared Goff and the running backs and say that how valuable they are because they touch the ball, they're impact players with the ball. What you don't look at is a lot of people don't look at the trenches. They don't see who's opening up those holes for those guys to run. They don't see who's protecting Jared Goff. Graham Glasgow was shuffled around everywhere on that offensive line in the middle last year. Right guard, center, left guard when Jonah was out. Kept it together. Now, I will say he's better suited at right guard. That's where I'd like to see him. He does play center. He can come in and take over in an emergency if Frank goes down for a game or two. But I do think there's a noticeable drop-off when he plays center from the offensive line standpoint. I just think Frank's that damn good, that damn important to the team. But Graham Glasgow can fill a hole if Frank has to miss a game or two. And that's absolutely pivotal with where Frank is in his career, battling that toe injury for the rest of his career. The rest of the time he's going to be playing, it's going to be there. You don't know when he's going to need a game off. Love the signing. It was the first thing I saw today. I said, all right, we're already on track. Let's get going. Let's get hot on some more free agents.
Hey, man, I just say one thing. There's one thing that I disagree with. I don't think that there's a huge drop off.
No, not a huge one, just a noticeable one. Because Frank is so damn good.
Yeah, Frank is a beast. I don't want to take anything away from Frank. Frank is an absolute dog. He's one of the best in the league, if not the best center in the league, especially now that Kelsey's gone. But Graham Glasgow could be a starting center in the NFL and be a dog at it. So I just think that, man, I'm just so happy he's here. I'm so happy that he's back where he should be. And who knows, man? Maybe we'll get another Michigan man later. Who knows? Who knows what could happen? Well, that's not what we're about today.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to talk about it. As much as he's dead to us, as much as he's not a part of the team, how do you feel about Jonah Jackson's 3-year, $51 million contract he got with the LA Rams?
You want me to tell you how I really feel about it?
Hey, let's be honest. This is a safe place for Detroit Lions fans.
All right, I'm going to tell you right now.
Don't care.
Bye. Yeah.
I mean, we saw the writing on the wall. We knew the Detroit Lions were not going to fork over $17 million for guards. These guards are getting bags of cash. I just saw Lane Johnson from the Eagles got like $21 million.
Crazy.
What are we doing?
Paying guards, apparently.
All right. So, yeah, Lions re-signed Graham Glasgow. Jonah Jackson's gone. Let's get into some guys that are going to be new Detroit Lions this year. Let's start with Marcus Davenport from the Saints. How do you feel about him?
Man, I love it. I love it because
really
I gotta believe that with the reuniting with Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn, they know what he has in the tank. They know what he's capable of. The dude was an absolute freak at his combine in 2018. The guy, he's 270 pounds, right? He's 6'6". The guy ran the same 40 as our new cornerback that we also acquired today that I'm sure we're going to get into. Guy ran a 4.5, a 4.6, 10-yard, right? He's an edge rusher, and he's one of the guys with the bodies that I love. He's 6'6". So you're telling me that potentially we're going to have a guy on one edge that's 6'6" at times and a guy on the other edge that's 6'7", both with the abilities to rush the passer, both with 4 or 5 speed. Like, what are we talking about
Two
here?
high motor guys.
Huh?
Two high motor guys from the
Two,
opposite ends.
yeah, two high motor guys. The only question with Davenport is, can he stay healthy? Can he stay healthy? So what do you do with guys that you don't know if they can stay healthy? You sign them to 1-year deals, which is exactly what we did. He's got a 1-year prove it deal. He had the same thing with Minnesota. He had a high ankle sprain, only played in 4 games, but had 2 sacks. Hey, Aiden Hutchinson played in like 8 games, and we know what that looked like at the beginning of last year. So that to
Do you mean James Houston only played in 8 games?
no, no, I didn't say only. I said Aiden Hutchinson played in 8 games last year, and we know what his sack situation was because everybody was talking about is Aiden overrated
Are you
or
talking about the last 8 games of the year?
I'm talking about the first 8 games of
Oh,
the year
okay.
last year. Yeah, the
Yeah.
first 8 games of the year last year, Aiden Hutchinson was struggling a little bit. And a lot of people were talking about, did we draft the wrong person? Should we have drafted Walker? Is Aiden overrated? Like, it was a lot of things that were being talked about,
You're
right?
damn right.
Yeah. So Davenport only playing in 4 games, but he had 2 sacks. He was so to me, that's showing that he can still produce when he's out there on the field. And again, he's got all the intangibles. He's walking into an environment where I believe it's a player friendly environment. I think that this team will get whatever he's got left in a tank. But when we're talking about his tank, he's only 27 years old. So I like the signing. There's nothing flashy. It'll be boom or bust. It'll be something that'll either make Brad Holmes look like a genius or it'll be something that we forget about. I don't think it'll be anywhere near like we'll be calling him dumb for taking the chance, signing a guy like that to a 1-year deal. At past, I think I know he was a top 15 pick. He might have been pick 15 or pick 14. I know he's a first rounder. So
14.
yeah, so getting a guy like that on your team, opposite Aiden Hutchinson, no pressure on him. He don't got to come in and be the guy, right? So I like the pick, man. I think that or the pickup. I think that it was a good pickup, a good way to take a risk on a guy, and maybe it'll give us an opportunity to take who we really want in a draft rather than getting pressured to take an edge rusher. What do you think? You don't
William,
sound like you were happy.
I was underwhelmed. Here's the thing. When I got the alert, I immediately saw ESPN alert, Detroit Lions have signed Minnesota Vikings defensive end. You
Mhm.
immediately know my head went to Danielle Hunter. We just signed Danielle Hunter. As I read it, I saw Marcus Davenport. So I was already a little let down because my hopes got really high for one split second.
Mhm.
So I said, all right, familiar with the kid. I remember him coming out of college, UTSA, University of Texas, San Antonio. I remember him with the Saints. My only question is I'm with you. Can he stay healthy? My other question is, can he be consistent? I look at I'm just looking at stats. His best year was in 2021 with 9 sacks in 11 games. On top
Mhm.
of that, he hasn't played a full season ever.
Mhm.
He's never played 16 or 17 games. So I
Mhm.
have a question about durability. I have a question about production because I'm looking at last year. Yeah, 2 sacks in 4 games, pretty good. That's a sack every other game. I'll take that. But I'm also looking at 2022, 15 games played, his most, and he only had half a sack.
Yeah.
I see numbers that just don't add up to what we want, to what we expect. Now his deal is very friendly, so this is a very low risk, high reward type of player. 6.5 million could possibly make 10 million with incentives. So we're really not risking too much. But I love his size, 6'6", 265, somewhere around that ballpark.
Mhm.
I like his age. He's still young. I think he's still in his prime. Just my only two questions: can he stay healthy? Can he produce?
My thing is this: it doesn't really matter when you get a guy with that type of. You got a first round pick, right? And you're spending pennies on a dollar for him. So
And
he'll
he's
either
young.
I was about to say, and he's young, and you're reuniting him with somebody that you already have a little bit of background on. You've already spent some time with. If I've spent time with you and I know what you're about, I'm only going to bring you in if I believe in you. Somebody that Aaron Glenn and Dan Campbell obviously believe in. And to that note, I'm going to assume that he's going to go out and contribute to this team. What that capacity is, we'll see. I don't believe that they're looking for him to be a guy that's going to play every down, and they know what the history of him is. So I don't think that he's going to be a guy that they're looking to turn over the keys to the castle to. That's Aiden's.
Do you
That's
think he
Aiden's
would be
spot.
more of like a pass rush specialist, third down, and
No, it's
7
too
to
big.
that type of thing.
He's too big to just be that. I think that he's something that's his floor, right? His floor is a situational pass rush guy, right? But I think that he does have a potential to be a big time player, right? But it's a matter of we won't know until the games are played. But I think that they obviously picked him to me because he's got that boom upside. Now he's got the bust there too, but what will the bust be? That he replaces James Houston? You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Ooh,
saying? Like,
darn.
you know what I
Darn.
mean? So yeah, so I absolutely love it, man. I love that the floor is somebody that could contribute to this team at his floor level, and um, it gives us an opportunity to be um a little bit more free when we get into this draft now. You know what I mean? Like we might not necessarily have to draft a flat out dude at
Easy.
the
Hey,
edge.
that's a question. That's a question for later.
Oh, sorry, sorry,
Don't be
sorry,
spilling my beans now.
sorry.
Come on,
My
I
bad.
got a
My
whole
bad.
list of things we're going to be
My
talking
bad.
about.
My bad. My
All
bad.
right, let's get into. I like this trade. Carlton Davis, cornerback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Um, how do you feel about him? I'm going to say something, and I think it's going to be a hot take, but I'm going to let you give your opinion first.
Yesterday, I had some things wrote down. I actually think I have it here in my notes, but it was that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers went ahead and disclosed that they would be willing to trade either Dean or Davis. That they would be open to it. So I had it as something that I wanted to potentially talk about, probably um, either today or tomorrow, anyways. And then this happens today. So I like both corners. To be honest, out there in Tampa Bay. But if I was choosing one or the other, it would have been Davis for me because Dean has all this history of knee injuries, from high school, all the way up and through, and that his injury problems worry me. So Davis is somebody. If you go back and you look at the film, he's somebody that's competed with every dog receiver that he's ever played against. The Justin Jeffersons, the Jamar Chases. He is out there.
Michael Thomas. I watch a
Michael
lot of film
Tom,
about
yeah,
him on Michael Thomas.
yeah, he's out there giving those guys hell. So, and and one of the things that we talk about here and I talk about all the time is if I want to truly know about the player, I'm going to look to what the players that are on there on the field with him have to say about him. And those guys say that he's a dog. And I think it's interesting too, because if you look at Carlton Davis's combine stats, he's not the fast guy. He's not gonna woo you with his bench presses. He's not gonna woo you with his 10 yard. He just gets out there and plays like a dog, man.
Put the
You know,
pads on and let's go see.
you know what I mean? He's one of those guys, and he's got a little swagger about him. He's got a little nastiness about him. So I think he'll fit right in. I love his the way that he competes, and that's what we want, right? That's what Dan Campbell talks about all the time. He wants iron sharpens iron. He wants guys that are going to get after it in practice. They're going to get at it every day, and I think that's what we got in Carlton Davis. My only worry is that third round pick. Could we have got him for less than that third round pick? I don't know if we could have or not. Maybe we couldn't have, but that third round pick was a little bit steep for me.
Well,
Cons-
I'm okay with the third round pick because that was the Minnesota Vikings pick we got for TJ Hawkinson. So it was like 91 or something. So, or no, yes, it was something like that.
71.
71. Um, that's the one we still have. We gave up our pick of 90 something. So we still have that earlier third round pick. So I'm okay with it. You're talking about round 90 or not round 90, pick 90. I'm okay with that. I look at Carlton Davis and I'm going to say this hot take. I like this trade more than the L'Jarius Sneed trade that was being talked about. He's younger, no knee issues, can do the same things. He's probably our number one corner now. 6'1", 206, big physical corner. We talked about how he matches up with the number ones. I'm telling you right now, when I heard the name, I knew who he was. I said, let's go watch a little bit of film. First thing I saw was Carlton Davis versus Michael Thomas matchups, and he held his own. That's who we're going to have to put out there against Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I'm looking forward to it. They've already seen each other, and it was a battle. So,
And on
yeah,
top of that, we got 2 6-round picks in return later on down the road. So we got a player, we get two draft picks in return, and really all we gave up is one draft pick. I would say we fleeced the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that trade.
I don't feel like we fleeced them. And maybe it's just because we've did so much digging into this draft, and I feel like there's a lot of value going up through the fourth round. There's a lot of value, and for a guy who knows how to draft. But to the contrary, and what I've been telling myself is, if we waited to draft a corner to the third round, could we have drafted Carlton Davis? And I don't think so. I don't think so. So in that in that respect, I do feel like it was a good trade. It was a good trade, but I just wonder, man, in a world where some of these guys that I've been seeing in the third round still there in mock drafts, or just when we break down the numbers of all of these guys, from the linemen to the receivers to the quarterbacks to the defensive players, so there's going to be dudes there. But I'm excited. I'm excited to stop thinking about this cornerback position from a standpoint of being in a panic of,
Yeah, put it to
who's
bed.
who's gonna be our number one, who's gonna be our number two. We know we got a dog number two corner, man. I mean, you guys can say what you want about Cam Sutton, but Cam Sutton as a number two corner.
Who do you think's number one? Who do you think's number two right now? Just
That's
your
I just
opinion.
I just said it.
You
That's
think Davis is number one?
Yeah, I think that there's not even going to be, you know how the Detroit Lions are. They want to play positional football. I think it's going to be matchup to matchup. So the bigger guys, I think that Davis is going to match up with the bigger guys. Big guys like Justin Jefferson, he's going to match up with them. Maybe smaller guys will be Cam Sutton. I haven't. That's just me spitballing, but guys that he matches up with well, I think they're going to match him up with. It'll be matchup to matchup
More of a chess match, you're saying, just depending on the week to week, it could change.
for sure.
I feel that 100%, and I agree with you. I think it's going to change. I don't think we have a true number one. I think we have two guys who played the cornerback position just different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I give that an A plus. I love it. Didn't see it really coming. I will say this, we were planning on doing a show with some cornerback trades. We were talking about it. We were going to go into L'Jarius Sneed.
Yeah.
I can't think of the kid's name from the New York Giants. It doesn't matter anymore unless it happens. But he was on our radar. Marshawn Lattimore was on our radar. We were going to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We just didn't get to it yet. So shame on us for not putting it out sooner, but it was on the radar. Real quick, it doesn't really initially affect the Detroit Lions, but it kind of piqued my interest today when Baker Mayfield signed his contract for $180 million. $45 million a year, and the big talk is going to be Jared Goff. And I know he's not a free agent, but just real quick, I'm locking Jared. If that's the market for Jared Goff, would you pay him $46 million a year right now?
You don't have a choice.
What do you mean?
You don't have a choice. Jared Goff's getting paid, man. I mean, we might as well, Detroit Lions fans, you might as well come to terms with it. And that was what Kirk Cousins got 180. So
Why did I say Baker? Maybe you're right. It was Kirk Cousins.
But yeah, it's you gotta pay Jared Goff. I don't care if you like him, you hate him. Now it's no longer 42 with Danny Dimes. It's now 46, and you gotta pay him.
And there's a lot of people saying that Jared, and I don't know why I said Baker Mayfield. I don't even know why he popped him. I think we were talking about the Buccaneers. Yeah, and he was just in my mind. I even had it written down right here that it was Kirk Cousins. But the debate all day I've been seeing on Twitter is Jared Goff better than Kirk Cousins? If the answer to that question is anything other than yes, you're out of you're in the right place. Kirk Cousins is never been in a huge game. He's never played in a Super Bowl. He's never played in an NFC championship. Jared Goff's been there. He was not the reason we lost. He wasn't the reason the Rams lost the Super Bowl in 2016, 15, whatever it was. He wasn't the reason the Lions lost the NFC championship game. We just didn't execute, didn't make plays when we needed to. So if it's today and I see what Kirk Cousins got, I think it's time to just lock in Jared Goff and just put this thing to bed for the next 3 or 4 years and just be done with it.
Bottom line is he's getting, and I say upwards of 50 million, but it's not upwards. It's really around. He's going to get around 50 mil.
10 cents more than Kirk Cousins is what he's going to get.
If it's 47, if it's 46, if it's 48, it's going to be around 50 mil. And that's going to be that. So guys, get ready for it because it's happening. It's no different than Amon-Ra's going to get 26 to 28. Get ready for it. It's happening. So I think that's why we're making moves on the value under the value menu, man. And I can't say that I hate it, man. Like Davenport isn't somebody that he wasn't even on my radar.
No.
So Brad Holmes is good at what he does, man. I like that ability to go out and go to the value menu and get a first round draft pick. That's what he did. Like I can't. It's a reason why he's in that position, and we're doing podcasts about it. You know what I'm saying? So hats off to him, man. Great job. Now, if he pans out, it'll be awesome. If he doesn't, I won't be talking bad about him. I'll still salute him for finding a first round draft pick for $10
Yeah, for $6 million.
and and being smart enough to only give him a 1-year prove it deal. You know what these guys do a lot of times on 1-year prove it deals? They find a way to make it to the gym and work out and get ready for the season.
Yeah.
They find a way to go after a contract. You're 27 years old. You're telling me you don't want another 2-year, 3-year, 4-year deal? Graham Glasgow is 57 years old, and he just got a 3-year deal.
Well, I don't know about 57.
He'll be what, 30? He'll be what? He'll be what, 36 or 35 or whatever at the end of this deal that he just signed for $20 million?
That's 3 years down the road. He's still a young man right now.
Yeah. If he's a young man, then what's Hendon Hooker? A baby, an infant?
Well, I know Hendon Hooker doesn't have any knees, so that's a different story.
I'm just saying, man, like that's what these guys dream about. You're 27 years old. You want to make sure that you put enough out there to get yourself a deal. That's why you're still in the league. Probably, I ain't gonna say what a lot of these guys, I don't know what his situation is, but a lot of these guys aren't good with their monies. So they need that second deal. That first deal, a lot of these guys mess it up on that first deal, and they got to make sure that they get that second deal. He hasn't been able to get his second deal because he's been getting signed to these 1-year deals. He left he left the Saints to go to the Vikings, 1-year prove it deal because of his inconsistencies that you talked about, and he got hurt, had that high ankle sprain that ended up sending him to the IR because he could never get right. This is going to be another opportunity to prove it. If he proves it, he's going to get paid. That's what we do. You prove it, you get paid. If you don't,
yeah. And another thing is his base salary is 1-year deal, $6.5 million. That's very team friendly. And the ultimate motivator for Marcus Davenport is you can damn near double your salary with incentives. It goes up to 10 with some incentives. I don't know exactly what they are. Probably games played, sacks, tackles, all that. But if that doesn't motivate you at 27 years old to go out and get $6.5 million base and say, hey, I can bump this up $3.5 million more if I stay healthy, if I take care of myself, I know what I can do on the field. Yep. It's really just going to come down to being consistent and being available.
Steve.
William.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask this question.
Oh, boy.
Free agent show, correct?
Yep.
How do you feel about the Philadelphia Eagles aggressively going after C.J. Gardner-Johnson?
I want to know how the Philadelphia Eagles have money in the salary cap still. With all the guys they're paying, how does it make sense? Yeah. They're paying a guard $21 million. I already referenced that. They're paying Jalen Hurts, what, $50 million a year? They're paying, they just paid Bryce off. They're paying A.J. Brown. Saquon Barkley they brought in. I'm sure some of their other offensive linemen that are there are still getting paid. I don't understand how they have money. They still got Hassan Reddick, who hasn't been traded yet. They're still technically, as it sits right now at time of recording, they still have to pay him somehow. I don't know how the Philadelphia Eagles still have money to spend. Make it make sense.
I don't know either, man. They're after CJ, man. What do you think? What do you think?
I know their fans bashed him and ran him out of town, so I don't know why CJ would want to go back there. I don't know why he would want to reunite with Philly. They kind of threw him away, in my opinion. I'm trying to be unbiased here, but he told them what he wanted. They said, F you, go test the free agent market, and now he's going to go crawling back. I don't know. I don't care what happens with CJ Gardner-Johnson. I just don't know why he would go back to the Eagles. So I don't know why the Eagles would try to reunite with them.
So you don't want him back in Detroit?
I'm not going to be mad if he comes back because I know he's an all-pro safety and they don't just show up and knock on your front door too often. But I'd have to give him a pay cut compared to that $8 million he got last year from us for 7 games. I'd need to take a little bit of that back and another 1-year deal, but I don't know what he's looking for.
Yeah, I get it.
Real quick, William, I know this guy's quote unquote dead to you, but I need you to put your burdens aside and tell me, are you disappointed that we didn't land Brian Burns today? Because I know that was the number 1 guy on your free agent market until he got tagged. And I did not think he would get traded. I thought he was going to die in Carolina, but the Giants made a move for him today. How do you feel about it with his value? Don't say who. Don't say who. I already know what you're trying to do.
Who? I'm not familiar with the guy, man.
A 2nd and a 5th round pick. And on top of that, they have to pay him what, $25 million a year?
Listen, man. I don't know who you're talking about. I'm just worried about these. Hey, listen. I'm worried about these boys right here.
All right. Well,
Dead
I'll
to
just say
me.
it real quick. I think the New York Giants overpaid. Brian Burns was both of our number one target in free agency. Didn't land them. New York Giants gave up a second round pick, a fifth round pick, and on top of that, extended them 4 years, $25 million per year. Hey, good luck. I don't think we played the Giants next year, so I'm not really worried about it. But how do you feel about some of the moves that the division opponents made? Because as much as you say you don't care, it does affect that team on your hat.
Now that I'll talk about, man. I tell you what, I'm not looking forward to seeing Josh Jacobs. I'm not looking forward to seeing Xavier McKinley. I'm not looking forward to seeing DeAndre Swift. Like it's guys, pump the brakes, guys. Pump the brakes. Slow it down in the NFC North right now. They made some moves, man. I thought they made some good moves, both the Packers and the Bears. Um, I don't know. I don't like it. I wish they would operate more like these Minnesota Vikings that are spending a lot of money on players that I don't even worried about.
You know, like Andrew Van Ginkel, who has the second best hair flow in the NFC North behind Alex Anzalone. Not worried.
Not worried at
Um,
all.
yeah, I'm not overly concerned because you know what the Detroit Lions are doing, William?
What's up?
When they go out of the town, they're the ones carrying the championship belt.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we worried about these other teams? Guys, I had someone in if you watch this episode, I know you'll watch it, and I'm talking directly to you because I will get a text message immediately. I won't say you by name, coworker of ours. Texts me and he goes, "Man, I'm scared about what the Bears are doing." What the Bears are doing? The Bears are a dumpster fire. They're paying linebackers $70 million a year.
Yeah.
They just went out what they did last year and said, David Montgomery's not worth the money we want to pay him. Now this year they're paying him. David Montgomery is making less than what DeAndre Swift just got signed for by the Chicago Bears. It makes no sense to me what they're doing.
I don't know, man. I look at what the Bears did, and I just Swift being familiar with the Detroit Lions is something that worries me. It's something that I like when we bring in Davenport. We bring a guy that's familiar with what they do out there. Um, Also, it worries me that they're about to deal Justin Fields. They're about
Are
to get.
they?
That's what I heard. Rumors
What's the
about.
market for Justin Fields? His team list is dwindling.
I heard the Raiders are very interested. So, then they won a second round draft pick for him. So I just think more draft equity for a team that's got number 1 and number 9, I believe. They already got a second round pick, adding another second round pick in a draft that we've already talked about has great players through the 4th round to me. So that draft stock, getting young players on rookie deals to develop, they already got after us a little bit last season. So I mean, really, to me, I know what the record says, but I'm not a dummy. Well, some would say I wasn't a dummy, but
He's jury's
um,
still out.
uh, to me, they were 2-0 against us. I know what the stats
Were
say.
they though?
I know what I know what's in the record books, but I'm also hyper aware to what the facts are, right? And
The facts are we beat them once, they beat us once. That's the facts.
you know you know what I'm talking about. So
When's a football game over?
yeah,
When the clock's at zeros.
I'll tell you, it's never over because if you know me, and I twist my dry erase board over here, I'm always tinkering. So, but that being said, man, that's a worry for me. A team that gave us HE double hockey sticks last year is getting better, So I don't know, man, and getting probably information about us from Swift. He knows how we operate, what we do, what the culture is about. So I don't know, man. That's something that worries me. I'm definitely going to put some respect on their name, and we got to get better and be more prepared next year.
I'll never respect Chicago. Their pizza sucks. Brian Urlacher was overrated. And the only thing that I worry about with DeAndre Swift is, does he know where to stand on the away team sidelines when he's in street clothes on Sundays? Like he's going to have to figure that out at least once next year. Where on the visiting team, like he knows where to stand on the home team because he was always missing games. But on that other side, like, do you think he has like a spot scouted out, or like he can say like, hey, that's a good spot, or I can watch the game?
I'm not even going to touch that.
All right, final question.
Yeah.
We've been talking all off season since the NFC Championship game about having a clear path once free agency starts, once we start getting into draft talk. We've done a lot of draft talk. Do you have a more clear path with what the Lions are going to do in the NFL draft of the season?
Not yet, and I'll say this: free agency isn't over.
No, just today. Today, I mean.
Yeah, I don't think we're done. Do I feel like we did enough to give us more options? I do. I do. Because before today, I felt like we absolutely had to draft a corner at pick 29 or 61. Had to happen. It absolutely had to happen. Now I don't feel like that. I feel like we can wait to that third round pick, or maybe we just sign a veteran. If it, if the guy that we or one of the guys that we like doesn't fall to us. But I also like the opposite. I also like waiting to draft your corner if there's a guy that you like at pick 61 and letting them develop. Because now you don't got to rush them out there. You got two solid veteran corners. You got Brian Branch who can play the nickel. Right. So you don't even have to rush your guy out there to play nickel reps. Right. So, and it gives you the opportunity to draft whoever you want, as far as like if you're looking for somebody that could potentially end up being a number one corner. Are you looking for a guy that could be a number two and play a little bit of nickel? Right. So I don't know, man. I feel like it definitely gave us more options, but I don't believe that we're necessarily done. And true question before I send that back to you. Did Daniil Hunter sign today?
As of now, no. Unless he signed within the last half hour while we've been recording, he is still a free agent.
Did Kendall Fuller sign?
No, he did not.
Hmm.
Unless that's changed within the last half hour while we've been recording. So we could be
Interesting.
fools, but keep in mind, it's technically 10:23 at night on Monday. So whatever's happened, by the time this video goes up, we might be a little bit behind. But I'll answer the same question. A more clear path on the draft. I still have no idea what Brad's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know. We got two positions that we needed. We've been saying all offseason, defensive end, cornerback. We got one of each today. Now, you still need another corner because you're not going to put Brian Branch on the outside. He really thrives at what he does. He's one of the best in the biz. You still need a backup corner in case of injuries. Where that comes, I don't know. I still have questions about Marcus Davenport, his health, his consistency. I still think you could use another pass rusher just in case. You just don't know what's going to happen. So for me, the answer is no. I do not have a more clear path on what's going to happen in the draft.
Yeah, I get it.
But I will say, I don't think we're going to draft a backup corner in the first round. It wouldn't make a lot of sense depth wise and roster wise. But I think in the second or third, you probably could.
Yeah, I think at pick 61, you might see a corner.
Unless Brad says, screw it, I'm going all in. I'm moving up and drafting Nate Wiggins or Kenyon Mitchell. I don't know. I don't know what Brad's going to do.
Yeah.
So
I know what Brad's going to do.
There you do.
He's going to draft a beast.
He is. He's going to hit another home run. You know what? Real quick, I didn't even want to bring this up. Someone on our last video commented and said Brad Holmes should be on the hot seat.
I've heard it a few times. I've even heard Brad should be fired.
Are people nuts?
All I can say to that person is God bless you.
Yeah, we were one or two plays away from going to the Super Bowl and having a good chance to win it. A team we'd already beat. I'm not getting into it, but I guess welcome to football because you obviously haven't been watching very long. So I'm glad you're here. Maybe if you're that person, don't leave a comment, but anyone else is welcome to leave a comment about everything we've talked about today. Free agency, day one. If anything happens overnight, we'll bring it up in the morning. We're really just covering Carlton Davis, Marcus Davenport. Unless someone's signed overnight, we'll talk about that tomorrow. Hit that comment button, leave some messages down below. Hit that like button. If you're new to this channel, subscribe, and we'll be back later.
Peace.